Well, it's just a great pleasure for me to be here today amongst Rotarian friends and share with you a little bit about the Rotary story and the Rotary Foundation work in Brazil. My compliments, first of all, to PDG Bert. I know Bert has worked a long time, several months, on the project in Russia, and it's great news to share with you this morning that that has finally been approved, Bert, and I know that there's several people who will appreciate your untiring efforts in making that dream come true. When I first of all got the appointment by President Frank, I thought, I want to go out and make good presentations and do a great job, and I thought maybe I could go and have some training, and I thought I could be a magician. I get a very beautiful assistant, and all they sent me was a fancy picture of this queen, and I thought, well, I get all sorts of fancy magic props that I could do fancy magic tricks with. They said there's no budget for that. They sent me this thing here, and they said, you're going to have to just do the best you can and split that lady in three the best way you can, so that's the way I have to do it. And this just goes to show you, Bernadette, that things don't always work out right in Rotary, and you just have to keep working away at them. And sometimes things don't turn out the way you hope. But as we all know in Rotary, if we keep working away at things, they will come together, and eventually everything will work out fine. As we all know, President Frank's theme this year is to create awareness and take action. And I was with Frank just last week, in fact, and when he knew I was coming here, he wanted me to extend his personal greetings to your club and to present one of his calendars for the Rotary year to your president. And that's a subtle way for him to remind you to keep on doing those things that are on that calendar and keep the old whip going with your club members. President Frank has picked this theme, create awareness and take action. He wants us to dream. He wants us to have some visions within our community, within our clubs, and yes, even within ourselves. And he hopes that each of us as Rotarians this year in our clubs and our communities will create some goals and some objectives to meet the needs in our communities. And then he hopes that we'll make plans and take action to accomplish those goals and objectives. And yes, by the end of June 2001, hopefully there will be many Rotary success stories. Last year, District Governor Barry had a dream. He's turned it into a goal of literacy in Brazil, a major project there where this district will hopefully raise $125,000 US, and through the magic of matching grants, turn it into a $500,000 project where we will bring literacy to 82,000 people in that country. And I'm glad to learn that your club has already responded to those goals and objectives and has plans to support his goal of 100 US per Rotarian in the district. And I compliment you on already having a head start towards that success story for your club. And today I want to share some of the information on the Literacy Lighthouse Project, which you'll see on your tables in a brochure. 1/4 of the world's population is illiterate. Literacy has direct links to poverty, uncontrolled population explosion, and basic human health and comfort of those families in the third world countries. In fact, UNESCO statistics dictate that 900 million people in the world can't read or write. Now, what does that mean? Literacy didn't really mean much to me a year or two or three ago until it hit home. Approximately 6 months I was in a third world country working on a Rotary project with some Rotarians, and they had their project and their goals and their objectives and their plans. And this particular day they invited some ladies from the shantytown communities into their little clubhouse where they had a row of sewing machines that had been donated, and they were set to give sewing lessons to the ladies. And the idea was that they would make them become self-sufficient. They could sew clothing for their children and save money. They could sew clothing to take out and sell on the streets or in the markets. And on this very first day, when they started the sewing lessons, they realized they had a problem. And you know what the problem was? The ladies didn't know how to measure. They didn't know how to cut out the patterns, and they didn't know how to measure the material, which were the very basics of the sewing lessons. Not long ago, I was in another third world country, and I was in a little village fruit market where a lady was doing two jobs. She had a little fruit stand where she sold mangoes. Beside it, she ran a little pedicure stall where she worked two jobs almost at the same time. She had a sign on the mangoes, 3 for 20 pesos. If you wanted 4 mangoes, she couldn't sell them to you. If you wanted 2 mangoes, she couldn't sell them to you. She knew that 3 mangoes came for 20 pesos, but past that, she had no idea how to calculate the price or to make the change. So those are the personal realities that I've observed with regard to Rotary literacy and numeracy needs around the world. And now I'd like to share a little bit of a video with you. It's a 5-minute video, and it'll tell a little bit more about the specific literacy program that we're working on. So that shares with you some of the general concepts about the Literacy Lighthouse Project. You know, back a few months ago, District Governor Barry and our Chairman Ian Foster made a trip to Brazil to firsthand observe the proposal, the literacy project that they had there. And in the meantime, we have 5 past district governors and a past RI director who are overseeing the delivery of this project in that country. In addition, District Governor Barry has signed letters of intent with government officials, including the State Secretary of Education. Last June, I spent most of the month traveling in South America, doing various Rotary presentations and touring projects. And I was in several schools to observe firsthand their commitment and their desire for learning. In fact, it's common there that each school would have 3 shifts during the day: a morning shift, an afternoon shift, and an evening shift. And yes, the parents are the ones who go in the evening because of their quest and desire for knowledge. Also, you might be interested to know that it's very common to feed the children during the school day, because a lot of them come from little shantytown communities where they don't get proper nourishment. And the education people there believe that you can't feed your mind until you feed your body. What about the people who feel that we should do work closer to home? Certainly the area of my Rotary interest is in the international side, but there are certain areas within our local communities that also can use help. In fact, the educators in Oxford, Waterloo, Wellington County areas estimate that there's at least a 25% plus illiteracy rate right within our own region. And for those who have got an interest in that side of literacy, we've come up with a list of various clubs that you can do right in the Cambridge area, in the Waterloo region area, to help people who are in need right in our own backyard. And for those, again, who may not believe or may not realize the impact, here's another personal example. I was in a colleague's office the other day, less than 30 minutes drive from here. And I picked up in the showroom part of an application package for employment. He was explaining to me that he has so many people come in that are illiterate that he's had to design a small test to see whether they can understand the language. And basically what he's done is he's photocopied a newspaper article. He's got a little questionnaire that they have to fill out after they've read the newspaper article to see if they've understood it correctly and interpreted it properly. And then he's got another little sheet with a couple little ruler photos copied with marks where the people have to tell him what the measurement is off the photocopied ruler. So literacy and numeracy problems are right here at home. And I invite you to go into your community and try and make a difference for those people in need. There's small cards on your table. I know that your club is already committed to fulfill the obligations and goals that District Governor Barry has set forward. For those of you who want to get even more involved personally, there's a small contribution card there that you can take along and mail in directly to the Rotary Foundation. Now, to put my technical hat on just for a minute, Bernadette, I'll commit to you that we'll get that website working smoothly. I've been involved in that now for almost over a year, and it's a new concept where the days of a webmaster are almost extinct. And if you continue to have problems there, we'll work with you to get those sorted out. The concept there is that the responsibility for keeping things up to date will be driven right to the grassroots level of membership. So what would you expect a guy to do who's a technology guy supposed to promote electronic communications for Rotary around the world? What would you expect him to do as a handout? Okay, there's the handout. You can tear that up. Okay. Just tear that up. Those are my notes. You would want an electronic handout, wouldn't you? Okay, well, we'll show them that it's empty. Throw it in there. Okay, there's your handout. Just so we give a little bit of time to the Rotary Foundation, because after all, it is the Rotary Foundation who funds these programs. Okay? So I need someone who's prepared to make an investment in the Rotary Foundation of $5. If they would bring some money and come forward, you have to understand that in some cases investments do incur risk. So here's a fellow who's got $5. Don't just stand right here. Okay, here's a fellow who's going to invest $5 in our Rotary Foundation. Okay, and you may not know it, but down in Evanston they have a great big printing press that prints money to match the grants. I'm sure that either Ralph Adams or PDG Burt has explained to you the matching grants and the magic of how matching grants can do projects around the world. So for those of us who do Rotary Foundation presentations, they issue us with our very own printing presses so that we can actually do matching grants right on the spot. Do you believe that? Say yes. So we're going to take this $5 and we're going to run it through the Rotary Foundation Matching Grants Project and show them what you've done. Now we're going to take one of those back, okay? And we're going to ask one of these fellows to stand up and show this to the audience and see if he can read it. Can you figure out what that says? If you're illiterate, okay, this may be what you see, gobbledygook. But we're going to put some Rotary Foundation money with that gobbledygook. And what are we going to do? We're going to do a literacy project. Where? In Brazil. Okay? And when we do that, what are we going to do then?
I can read this note. Thanks to Rotary and the District CLE Canada.
Good. Thank you for your attention.